Billionaire demanded poor bodyguard protect her for 30 days. He said, "You'll fall for me first." Hello everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now let's get into today's story. Billionaire demanded poor bodyguard protect her for 30 days. He said, "You'll fall for me first." The threat arrived on a Tuesday morning, slipped under the door of Avalon Winterbourne's penthouse like a poisonous snake. Black envelope, no return address, and inside, a single photograph of Avalon leaving her office building, with a red X drawn over her face and 3 words, "Your time's coming." At 34, Avalon had made plenty of enemies. You don't build a tech empire worth $8 billion without crushing competitors, firing incompetent executives, and making ruthless decisions. She'd always known her success came with risks. She just hadn't expected them to manifest as death threats. "We need to hire private security immediately," her assistant Morgan said, hands shaking as she held the photo. "This is the 3rd threat this month. It's escalating." "I don't need a babysitter," Avalon said dismissively, though her stomach churned. "I have building security, a doorman, cameras everywhere. I'm fine." "Ms. Winterbourne, with all due respect, you're not fine. Someone is targeting you specifically. Please, let me contact the security firm we use for executives." Avalon sighed. "Fine. But I'm interviewing whoever they send. I'm not having some muscle-bound ape following me around like I'm helpless." The man who arrived at her office 3 hours later was not what Avalon expected. Stone Garrett was probably in his early 30s, with the kind of build that came from actual combat training rather than vanity gym sessions. He wore a simple black suit that fit well but wasn't expensive, had close-cropped dark hair and eyes that were a startling ice blue, cold, assessing, missing nothing. There was a scar along his left jaw, faded but visible, and he moved with the fluid confidence of someone who'd been in actual danger and survived. "Ms. Winterbourne," he said, his voice deep and surprisingly cultured for someone in his profession. "I'm Stone Garrett. Your assistant requested personal security services. I understand you've received credible death threats." 3 letters and 1 photo, Avalon said, studying him. "Though I use the term credible loosely. Probably just some bitter ex-employee trying to scare me, or someone serious about hurting you." Stone sat without being invited, which annoyed Avalon immediately. "May I see the threats?" Avalon nodded to Morgan, who handed over a folder. Stone reviewed each item carefully, his expression unreadable. "These are professional," he said finally. "Not amateur hour. Whoever sent them knows your schedule, your routes, your vulnerabilities. The photo was taken from a position that bypassed your building's camera coverage. That's not accidental. You need protection." "And you're that protection?" Avalon asked skeptically. "What makes you qualified?" "Navy SEAL for 12 years, specialized in close protection for high-value targets in hostile territories. Since leaving the military, I've worked private security for Fortune 500 executives, foreign diplomats, and one very paranoid tech CEO who turned out to have good reason to be paranoid. We stopped 2 legitimate assassination attempts." "Impressive credentials," Avalon admitted. "But I'm not some damsel who needs constant hovering. I have a company to run, meetings to attend, a life to live. I can't have someone shadowing me every second." "That's exactly what you need," Stone said bluntly. 24/7, protection for a minimum of 30 days, while we identify and neutralize the threat. I stay within 10 feet of you at all times. I vet everyone who approaches. I control your environment and movements. You follow my instructions without argument. Those are my terms." Avalon laughed, actually laughed. "Excuse me, I don't take orders from anyone, Mr. Garrett, especially not employees." "Then you'll be dead within 2 weeks," Stone said, his tone matter-of-fact. "Ms. Winterbourne, I'm very good at my job, but I can only protect you if you let me. That means you surrender control. I know that's difficult for someone like you, powerful, successful, used to being in charge. But in this situation, I'm the expert, and you're the liability. You can either accept that and live, or maintain your pride and become a statistic." The room went silent. Nobody spoke to Avalon Winterbourne like that. Nobody. "Get out!" Avalon said, fury building. "No." Stone leaned back in his chair, completely calm. "Because despite your anger, you're smart enough to know I'm right. You're scared, even if you won't admit it. Someone wants you dead. I can keep you alive, so stop posturing and make a decision." Avalon wanted to fire him on the spot, have security throw him out, prove she didn't need anyone. But something about Stone's absolute confidence, his complete lack of intimidation in the face of her wealth and power, made her pause. 30 days, she said finally. "But I have conditions. You stay out of my way during business meetings. You don't interfere with my social life. And if I tell you to back off, you back off." "No deal," Stone said. "I don't compromise on safety. You want protection? You accept my terms completely or find someone else. You're impossible. I'm alive. Everyone I've ever protected is also alive. That's not coincidence, Ms. Winterbourne. That's competence." Avalon studied him, this infuriating man who refused to be awed by her status or bend to her demands. "Fine, 30 days, your terms. But Stone, if you make my life hell, I'm ending this arrangement regardless of threats." "Understood. I'll try to make your captivity as comfortable as possible." Captivity. That's what protection feels like to someone used to unlimited freedom. You'll adjust. The first week was torture. Stone was everywhere, standing outside her bedroom while she slept, sitting in her office during meetings, following 3 steps behind her through the building. He vetted every person who approached, scanned every room before she entered, and controlled her schedule with military precision. "You're suffocating me," Avalon complained on day 5, after Stone had forbidden her from attending a charity gala. "I've been going to this event for 10 years. I can't just not show up. The venue has 12 separate entrances, inadequate security, and will be packed with 500 people, any one of whom could be your stalker. Too many variables. You're not going." "I'm the keynote speaker." "Then they'll be disappointed. Ms. Winterbourne, you hired me to keep you alive. I'm doing my job. If you don't like it, fire me. But understand that the moment I walk out that door, you're vulnerable again." Avalon wanted to scream. But she also remembered the photo, the red X over her face, the cold certainty that someone wanted her dead. She stayed home. "I hate you," she muttered, as Stone did his nightly perimeter check of her penthouse. "You'll get over it," he replied, completely unbothered. But something shifted during week 2. Stone's constant presence, initially suffocating, started feeling different, protective rather than restrictive, safe rather than confining. Avalon began noticing things. How Stone always positioned himself between her and potential threats. How he remembered her coffee order without being told. How he'd quietly handled a drunk man who'd gotten too aggressive at a restaurant, removing the threat before Avalon even realized there was one. "You're good at this," she admitted one evening, after Stone had smoothly redirected an overly enthusiastic fan who'd approached her on the street. "It's what you're paying me for. Why did you leave the SEALs? You clearly loved it." Stone was quiet for a moment. "I lost my team. Ambush in Syria. I was the only survivor. After that, I couldn't go back. Every mission, every deployment, I kept seeing their faces. The military offered therapy, encouraged me to stay, but I was done. Came home, started doing private security. Turns out protecting one person is easier than protecting a squad. I'm sorry, Avalon said quietly. That must have been devastating. It was. Still is some days. But I'm alive and they're not, so I honor their memory by being the best at what I do. Keeping people safe, making sure no one else dies on my watch. Is that what I am? Penance for your dead team? No. You're a client who's in danger, but keeping you alive matters beyond just the paycheck. You're brilliant, you've built something incredible, and you employ thousands of people. The world's better with you in it. That's worth protecting. Avalon felt something crack in her chest. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in years. Then you need better friends. Week 3 brought a breakthrough in the investigation. Stone's contacts traced the threats to a former Winterborn Technologies executive that Avalon had fired for embezzlement. The man had been making increasingly violent threats online, culminating in the letters. We've contacted the police, Stone said, showing Avalon the evidence. They're bringing him in for questioning. This should be over soon. So you can leave? Avalon asked, and was surprised by the disappointment she felt. That was the deal, 30 days, or until the threat is neutralized, whichever comes first. Right, of course. But that night the former executive broke into Avalon's building. He made it past the doorman by impersonating a delivery driver, bypassed building security, and was picking the lock on Avalon's penthouse when Stone detected movement in the hallway. What happened next was over in seconds. Stone assessed the threat, positioned Avalon behind him, and when the man burst through the door with a knife, Stone disarmed him with brutal efficiency. 3 moves and the attacker was on the ground, knife skittering away, Stone's knee on his back while he called police. Avalon stood frozen, adrenaline flooding her system, watching Stone handle the situation with terrifying competence. "You okay?" Stone asked her once police had taken the man away. "He was going to kill me," Avalon said, her voice shaking. "If you hadn't been here, but I was here. That's what matters. Stone, you saved my life. That's what you hired me for." "No, I hired you to stand around looking intimidating. You actually kept me alive. There's a difference." That night, after giving statements to police, after the adrenaline faded, Avalon found Stone on her balcony. "Can't sleep?" she asked, checking perimeter, making sure he didn't have accomplices. "The police arrested him. He's in custody. You can relax." "I don't relax until you're safe," Stone said simply. Avalon moved closer, studying his profile in the city lights. "When does that happen? When am I safe enough for you to let your guard down?" "Probably never. It's how I'm wired." "That sounds exhausting." "It is, but it keeps people alive." "What about you? Who keeps you alive?" Stone looked at her then, really looked at her, and Avalon saw vulnerability flash in those ice-blue eyes. "I don't need anyone to keep me alive, Ms. Winterborn. I'm trained to survive." "That's not the same as living," Avalon said quietly. "Stone, you spend every day protecting other people. Who protects you?" "I don't need protection." "Everyone needs something. Connection, support, someone who cares if they make it through the day." She hesitated then. "I care if you make it through the day. I've started to care a lot, actually. Ms. Winterborn, Avalon, call me Avalon. We've been living together for 3 weeks. I think we're past formalities." "Avalon," Stone said carefully. "I'm your employee. This is a professional relationship. Getting involved would be inappropriate." "Is that the only reason you're keeping distance? Professionalism?" "No," Stone admitted. "It's also because I'm falling for you, and I don't know what to do about it. You're brilliant, stubborn, infuriating, and the most captivating person I've ever met. But I'm a bodyguard. You're a billionaire. When this job ends, we go back to our separate worlds. Getting attached would be stupid." "Then let's be stupid together," Avalon said, moving closer. "Stone, I've spent 3 weeks watching you. The way you think strategically, the way you stay calm under pressure, the way you actually listen when I talk, instead of just waiting for your turn to speak. And somewhere between hating having a bodyguard and watching you take down an attacker, I fell for you. This is a terrible idea, Stone said, but he wasn't backing away. I build billion-dollar companies. I'm good with terrible ideas that turn into successes. When Stone kissed her, it was like a dam breaking. All the tension from 3 weeks of forced proximity, all the fear from the attack, all the feelings they'd both been suppressing. It poured out in that kiss. Avalon melted into it, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. "Your 30 days aren't up," Stone murmured against her mouth. "I'm still on duty." "So protect me," Avalon whispered back, "by staying, not as my bodyguard, as my whatever we are. This complicates everything." Good. I was getting bored with simple. They spent that night talking, kissing, exploring what this connection between them actually meant. Stone told her about his childhood bouncing through foster homes, about finding family in the SEALs, about the loneliness of private security work. Avalon told him about building her company from nothing, about the isolation of success, about how everyone wanted something from her, except him. "I don't want your money," Stone said. "I don't want access to your company or your connections. I just want you, the real you, not the billionaire CEO. What if the billionaire CEO is the real me? Then I want her too. All of you, Avalon. The ruthless businesswoman and the vulnerable person underneath. I don't need you to choose." The next morning, Stone's company called. "Your contract is complete. The threat has been neutralized. We're reassigning you to a new client in Dubai." "I'm not taking the Dubai assignment," Stone said. "This is a high-value contract, 3 times your usual rate. I don't care, I'm staying here. For a client whose protection detail is over, Garrett, that's not professional. I'm not staying as her bodyguard. I'm staying as her boyfriend." The word felt strange, too simple for what they were becoming. "I'm done with private security. I'm going to find something else." After he hung up, Avalon said, "You just quit your job." "I know. Because of me. Because of us. Avalon, I've spent 12 years in the military and 5 in private security. I've protected diplomats, executives, even a minor royal. But I've never felt about any of them the way I feel about you. You make me want to stop just surviving and start actually living. What will you do, for work?" "I don't know yet. Figure it out. But Avalon, I need to know. Is this real for you? Or am I just an adrenaline rush after a traumatic experience?" "You're real," Avalon said firmly. "The realest thing in my life. Stone, I've spent years building walls, keeping people at distance, convinced that showing vulnerability would destroy me. You smashed through every wall in 3 weeks. You saw past the billionaire to the person. You treated my fears seriously without treating me like I was weak. And when that man came through my door with a knife, you didn't hesitate. You protected me, made me feel safe for the first time in years. So where do we go from here? Forward. Together. You find your next career move, I run my company, and we figure out how to make this work despite our completely different backgrounds. I don't have money, Avalon. I can't take you to expensive restaurants or buy you jewelry. Everything I have is in a duffel bag and a savings account with maybe 20,000 in it. I don't need you to have money. I have enough money. What I need is someone who sees me, challenges me, makes me feel alive. You do all 3. 3 months after Stone's contract ended, he started his own security consulting firm, training other bodyguards, designing security systems, using his expertise without the constant travel. Avalon invested in the startup, not as charity, but as business. "You're going to be successful," she told him after reviewing his business plan. "This is solid strategy, identified market need, competitive advantage through your SEAL background. Stone, you're going to build something incredible. With your help, with your talent and my capital. That's partnership." 6 months after the night Stone saved her life, he proposed. Not with an expensive ring, he couldn't afford that yet, but with a simple band and a promise. Avalon Winterbourne, I know I'm not what you probably imagined for yourself. I don't come from money. I don't have connections or status, but I love you with everything I am. I'll protect you, challenge you, support you, and never let you forget that you're more than your net worth. Will you marry me? Yes, Avalon said, tears streaming down her face. Though I should mention, I imagined exactly you. I just didn't know it until you smashed into my life and refused to be intimidated by me. Someone has to keep you humble. Don't push your luck. Their wedding was small but perfect. Stone's former SEAL teammates attended, along with Avalon's small circle of actual friends, rather than business associates. When they exchanged vows, Avalon added something that made Stone's eyes glisten. You told me on day one that I'd have to surrender control, that you were the expert and I was the liability. I hated you for it. But Stone, you were right. Surrendering control to you, trusting you with my safety, my heart, my life, was the smartest thing I've ever done. Thank you for being stubborn enough to break through my walls. You told me I was impossible, Stone replied, that I'd make your life hell. You were right too, but Avalon, I made your life hell because I cared too much to let you die. And somewhere in that impossible month I fell completely, impossibly in love with you. Thank you for being brave enough to fall back. A year after that first threat, Avalon and Stone stood in their new home, a compromise between her penthouse and his practical sensibility. Remember when you said I'd fall for you first? Avalon asked, curled up against Stone on their couch. I believe I said you'd fall for me first, yes. Why? I was thinking about the timeline. When exactly did you fall? Day 3, Stone admitted. When you argued with me for 20 minutes about the necessity of checking your mail before you opened it. You were so fierce, so absolutely certain you were right even when you were wrong. That's when I knew I was in trouble. Day 3? You lasted 3 whole days? I'm trained to resist. What about you? Day 2, Avalon confessed. When you told me that my life mattered beyond the paycheck, nobody had ever said something like that to me. Everyone measures my worth in dollars and market share. You measured it in human value. I started falling right then. So technically, you fell first. Fine, you win. But Stone, I'm glad I fell. Glad you caught me, glad you were too stubborn to let me push you away. Always, Stone said, pulling her closer. I'll always catch you, Avalon. That's what protection really means. Not just keeping you safe from threats, but catching you when you fall in every possible way. And as they sat together in the home they'd built, Avalon thought about that first day, Stone's arrogant claim that she'd fall for him, her absolute certainty that she'd never surrender to anyone. She'd been wrong. Surrendering to Stone hadn't made her weak. It had made her stronger, given her a partner who challenged her, supported her, and loved her without agenda. Sometimes the best protection isn't just physical safety. Sometimes it's emotional safety, knowing someone will catch you, defend you, choose you every single day. And that, Avalon had learned, was worth more than all her billions combined. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Avalon and Stone's Bodyguard romance touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.